Hello, welcome to our team project final presentation, a team to be or not to be. Today we will present our program, BudgetBites. BudgetBites is a meal planning application for college students. Our goal is to help students find meals based on their budget, dietary preferences, and restrictions. The program can also create an estimated grocery list based on the weekly meal plan. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our team. I'm Qiyu, the product manager. I work on the product idea, the product vision, and development. Michael is our Scrum Master. He manages the product backlog, the GitHub project board, and our Scrum process. Gideon and Ivan are development team members. They work on feature implementation, testing, and documentation. In today's presentation, we'll first explain the data behind BudgetBites. Then we will run a demo of BudgetBites so we can walk through the entire program and see what BudgetBites can do. After that, we will talk about technical debt, then the features we planned but not completed. Then we will analyze current issues, discuss next steps, and possible future features. Those are our goals for the next stage. Okay, before the demo, I'd like to explain how BudgetBites uses its data and where that data comes from. First, most of our recipe information comes from the Wikibook's cookbook. It provides recipe names, ingredients, cooking steps, serving sizes, cooking time, and equipment information. After cleaning and organizing the data, our current catalog contains 79 recipes, 165 ingredients, more than 700 recipe and ingredient links, and cooking steps. We also created a separate seasonal dataset from the recipe information. It contains 66 seasoners, including spices, sauces, and other flavoring items. We connected them with recipes and added allergy and dietary rules. This allows seasoners such as soy sauce, fish sauce, or mustard to be considered when the system filters recipes. For ingredient information, we referenced USDA Food Data Center. Our price estimates mainly comes from the USDA Economics Research Service (PPNAP) dataset. These are national average prices, so they are used for basic budget estimates rather than live store prices. Finally, users provide their own budget, dietary preferences, allergies, and pantry information. BudgetBites combines this personal information with the recipe data to recommend meals, build a grocery list, and check whether the plan fits a weekly budget.
Okay, so this is the home page of our BudgetBites. So first steps, like any first-time user, would be to log in and register. Few things to note here. If a username is already taken, so if I type in Mike and I hit register, you can see right here that the username is already taken. Please choose a different name. It's because I've already set up an account. So let's set up a completely new account. So I'll just type in my full name. We'll go Michael. We need, at least eight characters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and a special character. So as you can see, it's security hidden, but if you want to see it, you also have that preference right over here where the I is. So let's add a capital and a lowercase special character, and then we'll hit register. And then you can see that registration succeeded. Now we can sign in. And then again, if I want to hide that, I can, but let's sign in. Now it says signed in as Michael. Now, if you want to upload a profile photo, we have the ability to do that as well. So you can see here, we're University of Florida, so we've chosen a couple University of Florida images. So it's right there. And it also is up here next to signed in as Michael. You can remove the photo. I could have also pressed upload photo and just uploaded another one. And then there it is. Okay, so now we are signed in. We've created an account. We go back to the dashboard. I'm going to show you we have recipes here. As you can see, we have about 79 recipes, I believe was the last count. So let's say there's a recipe in here, but you don't want to scroll through it. Let's say Kung Pao chicken. I'll just type Kung Pao. And there it is. So back to the dashboard. Let's see, we'll start at the preferences here. So right here in preferences, we have our weekly grocery budget in which you can enter in a number or you can use these. They increment in fives. So I'm going to enter a $75 budget. Now, we have dietary preferences. If you're a vegan, a vegetarian, dairy-free, let's go ahead and we'll set dairy-free. Let's say we have a food allergy, whether it be fish or to milk, shellfish. That's a popular one. We could set that. And then we have our ingredients here. This is things that you would most likely find in your refrigerator or on your shopping list as you're going. It's good to check off things. But the first thing we need to do is let's go ahead and save our preferences. Okay, that way our food allergies and dietary preferences are saved now. If I wanted to add alfalfa sprouts and almonds, we can save that as well. Now, let's say we're going to find that we have those and we want to just clear our pantry. We can clear our pantry. We save that preference. Okay, that's important when you clear the pantry to save the preference. Now, if I did that, okay, and I put alfalfa sprouts and almonds back there, and then I cleared the pantry, let's say I didn't want to do that. We can just reload what we had there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clear the pantry again. Save those preferences. We're going to go back to the dashboard. Now we're going to go to the grocery list. Okay, so you can see it's blank right here, so we need to open a meal plan. Now we have normal, budget first, and strict budget. Now, if you recall, we set our budget to $75. So let's start with the normal budget first. Okay, we're going to generate a weekly meal plan, completely random. Okay, and as you see, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we have meals and recipes that we can make that fall within our budget. Okay, and being that we're in a normal budget, we can also keep clicking and it will keep creating new weekly meal plans. Now, if you notice down here at the bottom in red, our estimated grocery list is $78.38. We are over budget, and the red will alert you to that. So now let's go to budget first, generate a plan. As you can see, the budget first, all right, we have more items for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that we can do. But when we click it again, because we're on budget priority, this is what we got. Okay, now if I go to strict budget, you can see it's going to stay very well within the budget that we set. Okay, so we can also go to clear plan. Well, actually, I'm not going to clear plan. Let's see here. Garbanzo bean stew, chickpea stew. Okay, so let's go back. Chickpea stew. Let's go back to our preferences. We will find chickpeas. Let's save that. We've got that in our fridge. Okay, so we'll go back to the dashboard. Back to our grocery list. Okay, and you can see on our grocery list we have chickpeas right here. Okay, for our weekly meal plan. This is our shopping list, but we already have chickpeas. So all we got to do is hit rebuild from meal plan, and you can see chickpeas have now disappeared because we already have that. So we go back to open meal plan, and you can see again that if I want to go back to normal, I can generate more weekly meal plans. Clear the plan. and we could start all over again if we wanted to. Again, it will follow also the food allergies and the dietary preferences. You didn't, if you would have noticed that nothing included shellfish, nothing that included dairy in the recipes that it chose for us. We go back to dashboard, and again, Kung Pao chicken. Hit enter again, and then we're right back to the list of all possible recipes that we have included thus far. Okay, so that concludes the walkthrough for BudgetBites. So, you can go into back into the login and you can sign out. Now, has anybody else got anything they want to add?
If you set a pretty low budget, like 20 or $30, you can see the difference between the budget first mode and the strict budget mode. The strict budget mode will generate less than 21 meals, so there will be some blanks.
So yeah, so we're estimated cost total is $19. We are within budget. But like you said, you can see within that budget, we're only having lunch and we're having one thing for dinner all week long and no breakfast because of that strict budget. Budget first. Now we can eat all week, but we're eating one thing because it sits within our budget of $20. But we are over budget for that. Well, then that concludes it. So we will go ahead and sign out.
Although we have completed the core features of BudgetBites, there are a few planned architectural features that we didn't have time to fully implement. Our original design included SQLite database, but the current version uses local CSV files for storing data. We also plan to use the live grocery pricing, but the application currently uses static pricing from our recipe data. Other planned features like filtering recipes based on cooking equipment, editable shopping lists, and more complete UI for meal replacement were left for future development. These don't affect the core functionality, but would also improve the overall user experience. To stay within our project timeline, we also made a few engineering trade-offs. We use local account authentication instead of a more advanced session management system, and the users can register without email verification. Recipe management is done by updating our seed data rather than through an admin interface. We also focused on our testing on the application's core functionality, and the grocery prices remain static instead of automatically updating. These shortcuts allowed us to deliver a working application while leaving room for future improvements. Finally, these are the product backlog items we intentionally deferred. Features like saving grocery, cooking equipment, meal rotation, checking off grocery items, selecting a preferred grocery store, exporting grocery lists, and updating grocery prices were identified as valuable, but they weren't necessary for a minimum viable product. Since we followed Scrum throughout the development, these features remain in our backlog with priorities already assigned, giving us a clear roadmap for future versions of BudgetBites.
So now that we've talked about what BudgetBites can do, I want to go over some ideas that we had for taking it further. One thing I'd like to add is a better way to keep the grocery prices up to date. Right now, the prices are static, but in the future, an admin can update them so the meal plan could stay more accurate. We also want to make the meal plan smarter. Instead of just adding recipes that fit the budget, it can also consider things like the variety throughout the week. It can reuse ingredients to save money, cooking time, and even nutrition. Another improvement would be syncing user accounts between devices. Everything is stored locally right now, but moving to a database would let the users access their information wherever they log in. We also thought about adding a smart shopping features like barcode scanning or shared grocery lists and retailer-specific substitutions. Finally, we'd like to continue improving the GUI and move our data to SQL. This would make the application easier to maintain as it grows. We also came up with a few bigger ideas that would really expand what Budget Bites can do. One is live grocery pricing. Instead of using fixed prices, the app could connect to grocery store APIs so users can estimate based on their current prices. We'd also like to build an admin dashboard where recipes can be added or updated without editing CSV files manually. That would make maintaining the recipe database much easier. Another improvement would be a mobile version. Right now, Budget Bites is a desktop application, but most people plan meals or shop using their phones. So having a mobile app would make it much more convenient. We also talked about having the system learn from the previous meal plans so it doesn't keep recommending the same recipes over and over again. Finally, shared grocery lists and nutrition tracking would make the app much more useful for families, roommates, or anyone who's trying to balance both their budget and their health. Out of all the stretch goals, these are probably the two that we'd focus on first. The first is developing a mobile app. Since students usually have their phones with them while they're grocery shopping, it just makes much more sense to have Budget Bites available there too. You'd be able to check your meal plan, your grocery list, and recipes without needing a computer. The other feature is letting users add their own recipes. Right now, our recipe database is fixed, but everyone has their own favorite budget-friendly meal. Letting users submit recipes would keep the database growing over time. The nice thing is that those recipes can still go through the same allergy checks, dietary filters, and budget calculations that the app already uses. Just to touch on where the project stands today, there's still a few features that we didn't have time to complete. For example, like the meal swapping, the meal rotation, the live grocery pricing, and the grocery export. We decided it was more important to finish the core functionality first and leave those as the future work. One other thing worth mentioning is that we originally planned for a cloud-based application, but during development, we decided to build the native Qt desktop application instead. That let us focus on delivering a polished working product within the time that we had, while we also were using tools that our team was most comfortable with. If we continue working on Budget Bites, our next steps would be finishing those remaining backlog items, improving our automated testing, and moving our data to SQL. We'd also add features like the live grocery pricing and an admin dashboard. I think overall, we're really happy where the project ended up. We built a working application that meets the main goals that we set at the beginning, and we also have a clear roadmap for how we can continue to grow in the future.
Finally, I'll explain some important choices we made during development. Our original backlog included a cloud-based system. We plan to use JWT login, email confirmation, cloud hosting, CI/CD deployment, and a responsive layout for mobile devices. However, this is not what we shipped. We made some trade-offs and compromises. The final product is a local desktop application. It uses a salted hash login stored in CSV files. Users can sign up right away without email confirmation. The app runs as a native Qt desktop program. We also use CircleCI for builds and tests, but not for cloud deployment. The reason we made the call was simple. Our team had more experience with C++ and Qt than the web and cloud systems. We wanted to spend our sprint time on the main meal planning features. These included meal generation, budget checks, dietary restriction, and grocery planning. A cloud system would also add more cost, setup work, and development risk. So this was not a feature that we forgot, but a scope decision. We chose a smaller and more stable desktop product for this version. Cloud migration is still a part of development plan in the future. And to conclude, BudgetBites is designed to make meal planning easier for college students. It helps users plan meals, manage a food budget, follow dietary needs, and create a simple grocery list. We hope BudgetBites can help you reduce food waste and make daily meal choices less stressful. We'll keep adding more features to BudgetBites. Our goal is to keep improving the app and make it more useful in real daily life. We hope BudgetBites can be your healthy life choice and help more students eat better, spend less, and plan with less effort. Thank you for listening.